Good morning from Paris. Morning one, heading to Vivatech, the largest tech conference in Europe. Tens of thousands of people from around the world, including the Zuck, are here for a massive expo of tech. Very excited about that. Here with the conference itself as an ambassador. Very excited. It's a great group of people. I had some time to meet some of the new ones last night and catch up with the friends that I made from last year's Vivatech. Now heading downstairs for breakfast, coffee, and then straight to the conference, 8:30 a.m. We're gonna be there all day. It's gonna be nuts. Let's do this. In other news, is one allowed to wear Apple swag and Google swag at the same time? Is that even allowed? Last year at Vivatech, there was no AC. It was extremely hot there. There's no AC this year either, but better weather this time around, so it's hoping for good weather. Hoping for not intense heat throughout the conference. All right, 8 a.m. in the lobby waiting for all the ambassadors to show up, heading to Vivatech. 3 coffees behind me, and I found this great little beanbag in the lobby. I kind of don't want to move. Very, very nervous about the heat at Vivatech. I hope it's nothing like last year. It was a great event last year, but the heat was unbearable. And in other news, a whole lot of traveling in the next couple of months, heading back to Israel tomorrow, then New York, and then Zurich in July. So back-to-back trips. It's gonna be nuts. All right, more on that to follow. Now off to Vivatech. Made it to Vivatech, and I remember last year there were some insane lines. I was feeling optimistic. Then I arrived. Made it to the venue. There's good news. If you want to tell my viewers the good news?
We're in.
And it's not hot in here.
And it's not hot in here.
That's all I care about. On a journey to locate the Israeli startups. There's a pavilion of Israeli startups here, and I'm in search of that pavilion. Apparently the French president has arrived and he's walking by here in a couple of seconds.
Really, with no further delay, let's begin Vivatech number 3.
And I'd like to thank very warmly the President Macron, because without him, this event will have never taken place.
Great privilege and honor to welcome President Macron to share his vision for how we can accomplish this together. Thank you all very, very much.
I'm going to do an interview at Airbus. I was just told that I'm getting pretty direct access to President Macron. What's up, Jessica? What's up, what's up, what's up? So I'm going to walk the president to his car, apparently. I'm not sure how many people will be joining me, but apparently not that many. So that should be interesting footage. Hopefully this is actually gonna happen because the crowd's around that guy. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. It's kind of popular around these parts, apparently. Okay, I just got word that that's not happening. Promised he was supposed to happen, but apparently he changed his plans and is rerouting to the limousine in a different direction. This guy ruined my dreams forever. I'm just kidding. Nah, I'm just kidding.
I'm the dream breaker.
The devil. No, I'm just kidding. No. We're going back to Airbus now to do an interview there, right?
Yes.
Cool, let's go. Let's get it.
Okay, let's go.
That's not not a drone. That's a drone. Yes, please. This guy just asked me if I'm unbox therapy. I mean,
I'm sorry.
You don't have to apologize. I love unbox therapy. I'm flattered. I think I have a picture of us that like, I think I have it.
It was like I was checking my Twitter, checking my Facebook, and I was like, is this guy?
Come on, look at that. That's us. Look at that. Look at which we look alike.
So cool.
We do look alike, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not unbox therapy.
I'm sorry.
One day, when I want to be him when I grow up. What's your name?
You're gonna be one. You're gonna be one unbox therapy, I guess.
What's your name?
Theo.
What do you do?
Student. In computer science.
Here in Paris?
Yeah.
Very cool. Ever come visit Tel Aviv?
No, never.
Come.
It's cool.
It's amazing, man. Gotta come. But thanks for saying hello. I appreciate it. I'm honored. I'm honored to be called Unbox Therapy, man. Good luck. Take care, man. So usually I'll put my camera down on a table. You are a very tall individual. I usually put my camera down on a table and set it up and manual focus and everything, but it's too noisy, too messy here, so let's just do it super casual. Who are you?
Stefan.
Stefan. How tall are you?
1.93 m.
And you? You are a very tall individual. I think I'm like 170 something. Or do you play basketball?
I used to play basketball when I was in school, yes, but I stopped,
All right, so give me like your 30-second, who are you, your elevator pitch? Hit me. Who's Stefan?
Yeah, I'm Google 14 years, and I work in the go-to-market team sitting between business and the product side.
14 years?
Yeah, very long time.
Oh, man, that's a lifetime.
I helped Google in the internationalization process, and now I help with internationalization also for startups and external companies.
Amazing.
And in Google I try to connect the different startup teams and initiatives that exist, from a Google Ventures down to AdWords sales teams, to make sure we have a consistent approach to startups outside.
Love it. You know, I always wonder, forget Google for one second, in general, why do these corporates care so much about startups and about innovation? Pitch me on that. If I'm an enterprise, why should I even care about what startups are doing?
So there's like, I call Google already kind of a corporate. There's a lot of different angles where you want to engage with startups. Like startups are more nimble, they move faster, they're more innovative. Big corporates start to slow down, it takes forever to make decisions. I see it in Google now for 14 years, things take a little bit more time than before. And I think there's a natural fit in a few areas where for both parties there's an interesting win on the innovative side for corporates on the startup, and the other way around with partnerships, potential like audiences to reach out to, that would be beneficial for startups.
2 questions for you.
Sure.
1, how do I get myself a Pixel 2 XL? 2, just kidding. 2, when are you coming to Tel Aviv next?
No plans yet. Give me a good occasion. If you plan an event or something, more than happy to come.
Hells yeah. Just for the coffee alone, it's worth the pizza. We're gonna make that happen. Well, listen, I'm gonna.
If it's an event, I can expense it. That's fine.
I love it. All right, I'm gonna make a very interesting. As you were speaking just now, it just hit me that you need to know about a company that I'm working with called Prove. A company that they have a platform for POCs, for enterprises and for startups to collaborate. I'll turn the camera off and talk to you about it off camera. Thank you very much for the interview.
Pleasure.
I think it was good. You don't need any approvals for that. Just talking about you, nice and casual, right?
Yeah.
Excellent. Love it. Around in this massive tech conference of like, I don't know, 50,000 people, and I bump into this guy. No freaking way. Who are you?
I'm Yuda.
You're just Yuda?
Yuda Hoffe.
Just Yuda Hoffe. This guy's like probably one of the top Israeli engineers in the entire tech space. How long have you been an engineer for?
18 years now.
18 years. Where are you based?
Amsterdam.
What are we gonna do about that? We gotta get you back to Israel, man.
I need to get some invitation. I don't know, some new
You are hereby
maybe.
invited to come back to Startup Nation. We need more talent like you. Amsterdam. I mean, you might have better over there, but other than that, it's all about Israel, my friend.
I know.
Coming back home?
Sometime, someday.
Right. You're not leaving without me. Let's catch up soon. I gotta run, man.
Okay.
So now that you don't want to hear me, you want to hear Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Facebook, in a conversation with Maurice Levy, our co-chairman and the chairman of Publicis Group. So welcome, Mark, and let's go.
Mark, it's a great pleasure. It's cool to have you here in Paris.
Thank you for having me.
No, thank you. Thank you for being with us. I really appreciate it. And I know that when I wrote to you, you almost accepted immediately. And I really appreciate it. It's great. So a lot has been said recently about Facebook, data, Cambridge Analytica. Honestly, I didn't want to cover that But you said, no.
We have to.
We have to do it up front. So,
you know, we face a number of really important issues right now. And, you know, the way that I've thought about this is that for most of Facebook's existence, we've focused primarily on all the good that connecting people and that technology can bring. Right? So as we've grown, we've seen all these people around the world have gotten access to new tools to stay connected with the people and communities they care about.
In today's world, there's a sentence that you can say that you were never able to say before in history, like the history of mankind. I am sitting with a close friend and a mentor, wait, here's the kicker, who I've never met before. When could you ever say that before? But it's the truth. I've been following and connected with Frank for a very, how many years?
Oh, about 10?
Probably close to a decade. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. We've never met. It's crazy. I walked out of Zuck's speech and there was no chance I was not swinging by to say hello to you. There was no chance.
Awesome, dude.
So give me like 30-second background. Like, where did it all start? Who are you? What's your deal? Talk to me. Hit me.
Originally from Australia. I grew up on a farm and ended up in Sweden as a coder and as a troubleshooter. And then
why Sweden?
Why Sweden? Well, I got a scholarship. There was a scholarship going on between Sweden and Sydney, and I was like, God damn it! I'm Sweden. Why not? Right? I'm in the middle of Sydney. Got to do something different. Right. So I ended up staying in Sweden for 5 years, working for Ericsson in the early days of mobile.
Wow.
And then ended up going. They sent me out to Hong Kong and Singapore, and I got a bug. I got a bitten for Asia. You know, I mean, because it's just fantastic, right? You know, there's so much going on. Even then, this is early 2000, and then I got headhunted to come in for Hutchison and run engineering in the early days of 3G.
Wow.
Right? So I was like deeply involved in the engineering of building up those 3G networks.
May I just cut you off for 1 second? It's amazing to me when you say things like that, the early days of 3G. You know, you say it like it was 50 years ago. That was like 8 years ago, or 10 years, 12 years ago, 15 years ago. It's like, it was just now. Like, I remember, like, my first Nokia phone that was like, what was the GDP, what was the name of the abbreviation for internet on the old phones?
Oh, GPRS.
GPRS.
Yeah, yeah, when you couldn't get anything.
What the heck?
Yeah, just sat there looking at it.
It was like yesterday.
That's right, man.
It's crazy. Right. All right, anyway, go on, yeah.
And then I ended up doing a lot of great things for Hutchison, starting a company, Ink Mobile, and you might remember the Facebook phone and the Skype phone and all that sort of stuff.
Yes.
That was us. And we built some really, really cool stuff. And then I ended up, and then I had the privilege working for Horizons and Li Ka-shing, and that was amazing. So I was on the board of Siri in the early days before we sold that to Apple. So that was when nobody was interested in AI. Nobody was interested in AI.
It wasn't a buzzword like today.
No, it wasn't a buzzword. Nobody wanted to touch it.
It's not only
2009.
I feel like we're already in the backlash from the buzzword. Like now there's already the anti-AI movement, like the Elon Musks of the world, that it's going to eat the world and AI is the worst thing in the world. Like now we're already at the next stage. You know what I mean?
It is, isn't it? It comes back and goes, but that's the way things go, right?
Yeah,
and that's how it goes. And then and also obviously in the early days of Spotify, which was just fantastic, watching that grow. And then
Spotify, by the way, just sorry for interrupting you. We're close enough though. Spotify is probably, in my opinion, one of the most remarkable tech companies. Period. Full stop.
Well, I mean, and it's just really interesting to see how that dynamic. There's two founders there, Daniel and Martin. And that really worked because you have two founders. You have two amazing founders. You have Daniel, focused on product and brand, and then you had Martin, who was focused on investors and labels, etc., and the business side. And that for me is always the best way to do it. Like you
founders
need that.
Take note.
Got to have that. Got to have that mix.
Love it. Okay.
And then decided to start my own. So we started with 5 others, including Net down in Israel.
We'll talk about Net in a second. I don't know what my phone's buzzing off the hook.
That's right, man.
I love Net Jacobson, man. I'm a huge Net fan.
And we started off a little accelerator in Korea because we were like, look, Korea's a lot like Israel. They've got they've got
I've never been, by the way.
But it's so similar. Like absolutely, man. Well, that's a good thing. We got our demo day coming up. But you have on the other side of a border like a bunch of guys who potentially might be blowing you up someday, and that has pushed you to go global. Like that's Korea, right? Korea works very, very hard. They don't know what's going to happen to them next. In some ways, right? And that dynamic was what we wanted to get into, and also there was a lot of stuff like in the early 2009, 2010, you started getting a lot of young Jewish kids coming out of New York and the US coming back, and they wanted to do military service in Israel, and that kicked off everything because then they went off and kicked off the startup scene. And before that, it was a little different, and suddenly they were able to connect. They understood the US, they connected with the US, and they did it really well. And we saw the very same thing in Korea and then throughout Asia as well. So you had a lot of kids who went to school in the US right? And they're American. And then they come back and they don't want to work for Samsung. They want to get married, so they all start startups. And but they're American and they think American.
Right.
And it was just that same dynamic that really came in for you guys in the startup nation.
All right, tell me a little bit about Spark Labs right now. What is this thing you're
So Spark Labs, we started accelerating in Korea. We've now expanded all the way throughout. So we're in Korea, we're in Taiwan, we're in China, we're in Hong Kong, we're in Australia.
You're not just a regular accelerator. I mean, you're much more than that.
Yeah. So we have a Y Combinator. So when we went in, there was no Y Combinators, no Techstars in Asia, and so we had this great opportunity to go in and own the market,
right.
and help startups in Asia connect between different markets, and also help them go global, help them go to the US, help them go to help them come down to Israel, right? Help them get connected up into Europe, and that's what we do. So we have a great biggest accelerator. We have the biggest demo day in the world, over 2,000 people at our main accelerator day in June, and sorting that out, June and December. And
June, I'm in New York doing the commencement speech. When is June? What's the date? Remember?
Towards the end.
Oh, so I'll be back.
Okay.
Talk about it.
Maybe sort it out.
Yeah.
And on camera, right? And
committed. It's too late, man.
Oh, man, you're done, right? You're dead. And then we have an IoT Smart Cities one, and then we have fintech in China and autonomous vehicles, AI type of stuff. And then down in Australia, we have an agricultural tech one, which is really, really interesting.
Unbelievable. Net, by the way, just 2 words about Net. Tell me. I know his background.
We know each other from Facebook.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah.
So what was Net's role there? Remind me.
So he was running international and mobile.
Oh, right, mobile, that's right. He was like early mobile days.
Absolutely, right? When Facebook was like nowhere in mobile, wasn't that interested.
Incredible. All right, so SparkLabsGlobal.net, is that your
SparkLabsGlobal.com.
Yeah. I don't know why I thought .net.
Yeah.
Made that up. Net. There you go. All right, I think there was a reason. See? All right, Frank, listen, man, I am beyond exhausted, but I am so happy we got the chance to meet. It's crazy. We kept missing each other. All these things, global, we're like in the same circle, we just never met. It's crazy. So I'm really, really happy we got the chance to meet. Looking forward to hanging out in Israel, in Korea.
I'm going to say one more thing.
Sure.
I'm going to have a little plug as well for my company, SmartUp.
Please do, absolutely.
So we have 30 people. We're like a Slack of content. We build fantastic learning communities for big corporates. We have Deloitte,
You're the founder? How does that work?
I'm the CEO.
And is there any synergy between that and Spark Labs? How does that work?
Yeah, we work between each other.
And what's the website?
So it's smartup.io.
Smartup.io.
And
mentoring, learning.
No, it's gone way beyond that now. So we're like a Slack of learning. So we build communities of learning, social engagement, where you can put in your own content, and we have banks,
super cool,
big corporates, and everything on it. It's really good, man. We're really excited about it.
Do you ever get tired? You do so much. The amount of things you've done, man.
Dude, I mean, the only thing I ever have time for is catching up with your Facebook. That's it.
You drink a lot of coffee?
I do.
You do. I can tell. Frank, this was amazing.
Yeah, man. Absolutely,
thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to hanging out again in Israel. I'm so happy to have you. This made the entire Vivatech experience worth it. Really happy. Thanks, dude. One of the pieces of feedback I get from people quite often is that I'm always very positive, very optimistic, and they don't know whether to take things I say seriously because I'm always positive. I often tell people, well, things that I'm promoting, whether it's on a vlog, on my blog, on social, are things that I like, so naturally I'll be, optimistic and positive about them. But in the spirit of that, here's a little less positivity. Paris, you're a beautiful city, but I'm gonna say the chances of me coming back anytime in the near future, quite low. Let's start with the transportation here. And I'm putting aside for 1 second my thoughts on Uber as a company and the deterioration of their service over the past couple of years. The driving and transportation in Paris is an absolute zoo. It is painful to drive in the city, and the traffic it's unbearable. That's number one. Number two, the lack of anything not French. It's okay, for you guys to speak French, but soda machines should have English on them for people that come from other countries. There's other languages, and literally could not buy a soda today because I could not figure out how to use the machine. Ridiculous. In addition to that, the lack of, I would say, familiarity and knowledge about my culture, Judaism, specifically when it comes to food, just makes me remember how lucky I am to be living in Israel. Let's just leave it at that. Lastly, French rap is ridiculous. That's all I have to say. I'm going to eat in Kavod, one of the best kosher restaurants in the world. Hopefully I'll enjoy that. Tomorrow, back to Israel. Could not be more excited. Vivatech is an amazing conference. Paris is not for me. I felt the same way when I left last time, and I feel it this way. I don't see myself coming back here anytime in the near future, despite the beauty of the city. It's just not for me. That's all. Back to Israel tomorrow. See you then.